As we all know that our U.S. tax system is a voluntary tax system, and we depend on people willing every year to sit down, fill out that form, and pay their appropriate amount of taxes. So I really think enforcement is a reward to those who voluntarily comply. And I think if the public does not see that the IRS is enforcing the laws, we're going to be at risk of losing people continuing to voluntarily comply.
Okay, so I want to explain this. How could taxation be voluntary for some and mandatory for others? Allow me to explain. As we can see here, right here in the tax return forms and instructions, it clearly states that the tax system is based on voluntary compliance. What does that mean? And if you go to the IRS website, look at their criminal investigation reports every single year and go search for the word voluntary. And you'll see they'll tell you compliance with the tax laws in the United States depends heavily on taxpayer self-assessment of the amount of tax, voluntary filing of tax returns, and remittance of any tax owed. This is frequently termed voluntary compliance. Once again, the integrity of our tax system depends heavily on taxpayers' willingness to self-assess taxes owed and voluntarily file tax returns. Now, I don't want to overwhelm with information, but there's no such thing as an income tax, really. Everything you pay to the IRS is considered as a gift or bequest to or for the use of the United States. And if you dive deep into the law, you'll see that this is printed over and over and over and over because they have to properly disclose that everything you think you pay in income tax is a gift or bequest, and a gift does not need to be returned. Now, why does our tax system depend so heavily on taxpayers self-assessing the amount of tax that they owe? Because all along, you've been allowed to report all your income on your taxes, but declare it as non-taxable. So this is a Federal Reserve note. This is America's default currency. We all use this, we get paid in this, and when we buy groceries or gifts for family, this is the type of money that we use. And think about it. Since this bank, the Federal Reserve, prints this currency, they make your life easier, right? They do, and they know that. So at the end of the year, they charge everybody a service fee or convenience fee for using the bills that they print. That convenience fee is called income tax. Every Federal Reserve note that gets printed into circulation becomes an obligation of the U.S. government to pay back directly to the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a private corporation. And Uncle Sam passes the bill to us. Paying off this national debt to these Federal Reserve bankers is the sole and only reason why we have an income tax. Now, this is 100% legal, and rich people do this every year. You're actually allowed to opt out of having to pay the service fee by demanding that your income be treated as United States notes, the older kind of money that used to be in circulation until the 70s. This may sound a little bit complicated, but by default, our money is taxable because it's Federal Reserve currency. You actually have a choice every single year when you file your taxes to demand that your income be treated as non-taxable notes issued by the U.S. Treasury. So this is what makes taxation voluntary, because all along you could have been filing your taxes, reporting your income as taxable, like 99.99% of uninformed Americans do, or you can declare your income as non-taxable, like the 1% do. Both of these are legal. The IRS will accept either tax return, but they want you to report your income, calculate what you owe, and pay what your bill says. You can simply use 12 U.S.C. 411 to have a $0 tax bill every single year. Now, this process works, and I'm telling you it works because I went through it as a client. When I did this process, I had $8,351 that came out of my pay during the year. When I filed my taxes with this process, I didn't just get back that $8,300, I actually got back $8,516, more than I ever paid into the tax system. I actually got paid a bonus in interest, an extra $160, because I'm not a taxpayer. I'm tax exempt. All that money that I gave to these people was a loan. And when you file with this process, you call that loan in due, you get 100% of your money refunded. If you don't get 100%, you'll probably get something like I did, 102% refund. Now, you can do the same thing. Being tax exempt is not just for the rich and the wealthy. I'm a regular person who used this process. Go to Taxpayer Shutdown 2025, watch the full video, register for the live workshop every Thursday, get all your questions answered. These people have CPAs that'll file your taxes for you with this tax exemption process. I'm only telling you this works because I'm someone who did it as a client, and I want people to know that this is the right way to do it.
We rely on voluntary compliance for our tax system, but we have systematically undercut the ability of the IRS to deal with voluntary compliance.